Good evening. My name is Guneet Khanna. I'm the co-founder and director of Reviser. Thanks everyone for joining in on a Sunday evening. Today's webinar is an information session about the AP exams, right? This is a quick brief on how the webinar has been structured. For the first 40 to 45 minutes, we are going to be talking, I'll be explaining to you about the advanced program exam in detail. In case you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. We will answer all of these questions towards the end, right? At that time, you can also unmute yourself and ask the questions that you have. We want to make sure that you have access to all the information that is being shared today. So we will be sharing a link of the AP webinar recording. And we'll also send you the links to College Board website, which we'll be showing you over the course of the webinar. Rest assured, we are here to support you. And we will share our numbers also, and we will give you, you can give us a call to have a discussion in case you have any questions that you want specifically for your child, and we can have a one-on-one discussion on that. Plus, the links that we give you, you can review those resources at home. The aim here is for you to understand about the AP journey, and a lot of these conversations, decisions you will have to make with your college admissions counselors. This webinar is here to prepare you as parents and students to understand what are the questions you need to ask them, what are the things you need to explore before you make those decisions. Yeah. Before we get into it, let me give you a quick brief about Reviser. Reviser is a high school learning support company. We work with students worldwide to help them achieve their academic goals. We work with students as early as grade 8, and we work with them all the way up until grade 12. We largely help them in two main areas. First one is test prep. So we help them with SATs, ACT, APs, IELTS, etc. And the second area is academic tutoring, where we provide coaching for students in the Cambridge board, which is IGCSE, AS, and A levels, and the IB curriculum as well. So we do subject tutoring out there. So it's pure coaching. We've been in this space for about 8+ years. And we have students from across 8 to 9 countries. We work with about 4.5 to 5,000 families now. And okay, so I think about the AP exam, I think what we're going to be discussing is why should you write it? What is the structure of the exam? How is it scored? We will cover, how can you score well on the APs? What are the things you should make sure that you are doing when you're preparing for this exam? A key part of today's webinar is going to be to help you understand what are the things you need to explore to be able to choose the correct AP subjects, right? And I will be showing you how we can do this using the subject categories as a guiding tool, the score distribution tables, and by connecting the APs to the majors that you plan to follow in college. So I'll show you how to access these tools, which are there on the College Board website, and what questions to ask, right? Finally, we'll discuss Reviser's AP programs and what we offer, right? So before I dive in, let me give you an overview of, how the APs really fit into your, okay, so let's talk about first the college admissions process, right? What are the main things that you need to understand about the college admission applications? First, of course, is academics. It's the most critical part of your application. Your grades from 9th to 12th will need to be sent into colleges. A strong academic performance is essential. The second thing that you need to prepare for a strong application would be your standardized test prep. Many students, take the SAT or the ACT exams. And earlier, for a particular subject, you had subject SATs, which students could take to showcase their strengths in a specific subject like maths or physics or chemistry. but College Board has discontinued these tests globally. So now if you want to highlight your expertise in a particular subject, AP exams have become increasingly important, right? So unlike the SAT and the ACT, which are testing primarily your English and your math levels, AP exams are subject specific, and they allow you to demonstrate your proficiency in a particular subject, right? Which is a big caveat here. It should be relevant to your intended field of study. So whether you're aiming for medical school or engineering or the sciences, AP exams can help you stand out. The other thing that colleges will look at will be your personal profile. This is beyond your academic scores and test scores. Your profile plays a crucial role. This includes what have you done in your intended field of major, other than your academics that was done in school. So any research papers, internships, extracurricular activities, and other achievements in that area. All these things collectively will form a comprehensive picture of who you are and what you bring to the table, right? Then, of course, you'll have your college essays. Again, a very important, critical part of your application. They provide a platform to showcase your personality, your values, cultural insights beyond academics. Essays will differentiate applicants, and they'll demonstrate also your right fit for the college. They'll also highlight strong writing skills. So they play a pretty important role in, the overall holistic process of admission. And they influence your admission decisions quite significantly. So when you understand these components and how they fit together, that will help you kind of prepare a very strong application for colleges. Now, looking at the testing timeline and where do these tests really sit in your high school admission journey, right? When you're in high school, which are the places that you should be taking? So again, if you have insight into the timelines, it will help you have a strong academic plan. So high school years, grades 9 to 12 are extremely important. Everything is being watched here. So if you plan your journey well, the things that you need to keep in mind is what we're going to be talking about, touching on briefly. So grade 9 is great for foundation and early preparation. Start early by, engaging in extracurricular activities, exploring your interests. Of course, academics being the most important part of your application, build strong study habits. As far as standardized tests are concerned, try taking the PSAT, which is a preliminary SAT, to gauge your readiness for the future exams that you have. This will help you familiarize yourself with the format of the exam and identify areas which you need to work on over the next 1 or 2 years to make sure that you're bridging any gaps. Again, we have detailed webinars for the SAT and ACT. You can attend those for detailed guidance, or we can send you a link on YouTube. You can go through those as well. Grade 10, for as far as the diagnostic, for the testing space is concerned, I would say start with the diagnostic test. Begin serious preparation for the SAT or the ACT in grade 10. First of all, take a diagnostic test to see which exam suits you best, the SAT or the ACT, and then focus your efforts accordingly, right? Take the PSAT. It will give you a checkpoint to see where you stand, give you enough insights for you to start building the base, towards your SAT exam. You could take some AP exams also in grade 9 and 10. Some students will take it as early as grade 8 also. But, consider starting with manageable APs, like which are not specific to what you're doing in school. So AP subjects like computer science A, or AP microeconomics, macroeconomics. Avoid advanced subjects like AP calculus BC at this stage, right? Grade 11 is intensive for test prep and addressing scholarship universities. So, for example, PSAT, PSAT NMSQT for the US citizens, they should take it in the October of grade 11. This will qualify them for the National Merit Scholarship. Aim to complete your SAT or the ACT exam by the end of grade 11. You will, it helps the college counselors. But once you have a specific score, it will help them build your college list appropriately. If you plan to send your AP scores with your applications, start your prep early grade 11 is what we would recommend. If you're so the test needs to be taken in the month of May between grade 11 and 12. So for IB and Cambridge students, it will be along with your final exams. For ISC and CBSE students, it will be at the end of after your 11th, early 12th. So, and this happens, like we said, along with your school exams. So you need to plan well. Grade 12, it's ideal to keep grade 12 free for college applications and final exams. Having your SAT and ACT scores ready by the time you start grade 12 is a big advantage. You can still go ahead and take your AP exams at the end, towards the end of your 12th as well, but they will primarily be for earning college credits and not so much for enhancing your application, right? So again, the big mantra here is that begin your profile building and test prep as early as grade 9. Choose your subjects wisely. Take subjects which are appropriate for your grade level and your academic readiness, and plan strategically. So, ensure you complete your SAT, ACTs by grade 11, leaving grade 12 free for your college applications. And finalizing, there's going to be so many last minute details that you will need time for. So by understanding your and planning your testing timeline early on, you'll make sure that you're well prepared and you'll position yourself strategically, academically and for college admissions. And it'll help reduce your stress and allow you to present your best self to the colleges. Right? If you have any questions as we go along, please put them in the chat box and we can take them up after the presentation. Right? Now, let's talk a little bit about, what are the APs? So AP exams are college level tests taken in high school, and they focus on a specific subject. So also remember that, unlike the SAT and ACT, which is offered 7 times in a year, AP exams are offered only once a year in the month of May. So planning your journey becomes very essential, right? If you're following IGCSE and IB, like I mentioned, or A-level curriculum, you're likely to have your final exams in May and June as well, right? So this overlap means that you have to plan for your AP exams well enough, right? Start off well in advance, make sure there's no conflict with your school exams, right? Currently, College Board offers 30 plus subjects, I think almost 38 subjects now worldwide, but all of those subjects are not available in every country. In India, we have almost 30 plus subjects which are being offered. So knowing which subjects are available will help you plan your studies better. And like I said, proper planning and understanding the timing of these exams will help you manage both your AP and your school exams preparations, school exam preparations more effectively, right? Start early, stay organized, and make sure you're performing to your best in both. Why would you want to do the APs? What would be the reason of doing the APs? First of all, would be to stand out in college admissions, right? Academic performance, is a basic expectation. The colleges already assume that you're doing very well, right? To stand out, you do need more, especially if you're presenting an academic profile, right? And that's where the AP exams come in, right? There is fierce competition in college admissions, especially in the US. Academics alone may not be enough. So to help you, differentiate yourself from the crowd, one of the main reasons why students will take their APs is to make their application more impressive. The other reason could be that AP exams, are college level exams, which you're taking in high school, but it is a college level exam. So if you score well, you can earn college credits. For example, in the US, a college credit can cost anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500, right? By passing an AP exam, you can save these costs, and you can also potentially skip certain courses in college in your first semester. So this reduces your tuition fee, also lightens your course load in the first semester because you're going into a foreign country. Here a lot of students are staying at home, or they're staying in hostels where a lot of life is managed for you. There, your grocery, your laundry, your transportation, everything is going to be managed by you, and a lot of students will be living alone for the first time. So it can become a little overwhelming. So some students will end up taking their APs before they go to lighten the course load, so that their GPA does not get affected. Right now, because you have taken some AP exams earlier, you can, for students who don't want extra time, they can also add a extra minor to the degree, right? Or some students can even graduate early, because this flexibility will allow you to make the most of your college experience, right? Of course, if you're planning to send in your scores with your application, AP exams do open doors to scholarships and awards. For example, if you take multiple APs and you excel in them, you can earn the title of an AP scholar, which strengthens your college application, right? And it increases your chances of receiving a merit-based scholarship also. And like we had said in our morning webinar as well, sometimes, students will take the AP exams to compensate for a poor academic score. So for example, if you've not done well in a particular subject, say physics in grade 10, but you are planning to apply for an engineering course, right? Then taking an AP physics will help, because it will show to the college that, while I might have scored, I don't have a high score in grade 10, but I'm actually very good at physics, and you showcase your proficiency in that way, and it reduces the negative impact on your application, right? Another reason why some people will end up taking the AP is if you're planning to major in a subject which you don't have in high school, right? It helps, so for example, say you're a science student and you're planning to study psychology, right? Now you haven't done this in your high school, and but if you take an AP in psychology, this shows the college that you have diverse academic strengths and you're prepared for your intended major. It does highlight your ability to excel in subjects other than the ones that you've taken in high school. So it shows to the college that I'm not unidimensional. I can't only do science. I'm actually good at psychology as well. And here is my score. You can see for yourself. So getting admission becomes into a prestigious psychology course becomes that much easier. Right. So basically, to summarize, APs can help you in stand out in college admissions. It can help you earn college credits. It can also serve on tuition fees. You can graduate early. You can even secure scholarships. So if any of these reasons actually resonate with you, then the upcoming presentation will provide some insights on how to prepare for these AP exams. If not, it might be worth considering if the AP exams are even necessary for your academic journey. Right? Now that we have clarity on that, let's look at the structure of the AP exam. Most AP exams last between 2 to 3 hours and are divided into two main sections. So we have multiple choice questions, which are largely testing your knowledge of content. Again, there is no negative marking for this. Then you have the free response questions. Unlike the SAT or ACT, where you just have multiple choice questions, here you actually write down your own answers. These are subjective type questions that require detailed essay style responses, very similar to your school exams. So they're assessing your ability to, analyze, synthesize, apply knowledge in a very structured manner, right? And again, it's graded by trained educators who usually teach college level courses, right? So it's not like it's, again, the scoring is also, you can get partial scores for a properly written answer. Even if it's not perfect, you will still get scores for it. So these AP exams, these free response kind of questions require higher order thinking skills, detailed written responses. So you need to articulate uh, your you have to be able to articulate well, right? Also, these exams, because they have these kind of essay type answers, they are a lot more rigorous and demanding, right? You have to not only showcase your factual knowledge, but you have to have the ability to express and support your ideas effectively, right? So it does require thorough preparation, a very strong understanding of the subject matter. So make sure you're prepared to tackle both multiple choice and free response questions. Let's look at the scoring. They're graded on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. Achieving a 5 doesn't mean you need to have a perfect score. Scoring around 80 to 85% can still earn you a 5. That makes it more attainable with solid preparation. A score of 5 showcases academic excellence and strengthens your college application. A strong 4 is also a good score. It can be impressive to colleges. In fact, some colleges will grant you a credit for a score of 3 also. So it's always best to check specific college policies. So like UC Berkeley, for example, gives you credit for a score of 3 also. If you're applying to a very competitive university, a score of 5, significantly enhances your application by demonstrating that, okay, you have mastery in this subject, right? So it depends on the colleges you're applying to. Now let's look at, AP Scholar. What do we mean by AP Scholar? AP Scholar is not a term for just any student who takes an AP exam. It's an honor awarded by the College Board. To become an AP Scholar, you'll need to perform well on multiple AP exams. So while there is no monetary reward involved, you will receive a certificate commemorating the honor, right? So even better, the AP Scholar designation will appear on all the AP score reports that you're sending to the colleges and universities, right? And the Scholar program is, this designation is based on 2 main criterias. One is the number of AP exams you take in which you score 3 or higher, and your overall AP test average, right? So I would recommend that you don't just randomly start taking APs early on just as a practice exam. Don't do that, because the average does matter. So if you score for an AP Scholar, you need to have a score of 3 or higher on at least 3 AP exams, right? If you're an AP Scholar with honors, you need to score 3 or higher on at least 4 AP exams, and you need to have a minimum AP average of 3.25 on all the AP exams, right? That you have taken. Starting from grade 8 if you're taking, so your AP average has to be above 3.5. AP Scholar with distinction, you have to get a 3 or higher on at least 5 AP exams, and you have to have a minimum AP average of 3.5, right? So, and all this distinction will show up, I mean, whatever award you have will show up on the AP report, which goes to the colleges, right? Now, let's look at some data, and that will be the starting point of our discussion on how to choose the right AP, right? Here are some of the things that you could be looking at. So one way to help you decide which AP to take is to align it with your intended major or your career path, right? Now, we normally have a general idea of the areas that we're interested in studying for our undergraduate degree, even if we don't know the exact majors that we want to take, So you might know, are you interested in following just pure sciences? Are you looking at math and computer science? Are you looking at art and design? The basic categories. So what College Board has done is they've divided the APs into 7 major categories. As you can see here: capstone, arts, English, history and social science, math and computer science, sciences, world language and cultures, right? Now, within these categories, there is a cluster of AP exams under it, you know. So and you'll have to figure out which are the ideal APs for you to write. So for example, say I'm interested in computer science, then the list of APs that I could be looking at is here. So I could do calculus AB, BC, computer science A, computer science principles, pre-calculus, statistics, all of these. If I'm looking at math and computer science, I could take any of these APs, right? Or if I was interested in doing pure sciences, I could potentially take AP biology, chemistry, environmental sciences, all the 4 physics APs, right? Algebra, physics 1, 2, electricity, magnetism, mechanics. So College Board has some useful tools, and you can, if you see here, you'll be able to see the subject categories. This is the College Board website that I'm opening for you. This has the subject categories here. AP Calculus, AP BC, right? And this is a tool that AP has created for you all to use and explore before you actually sit down with your college counselors and this will help you have the right questions to ask them as well. Once again, don't worry, we will be sharing these links with you, the resources, the recording of this session after the webinar. So let's see how this helps you. So say, for example, if you're thinking of doing AP Calculus BC, right? Now, if you go in here, you will realize that there's a tool here that says that it connects you to 38 majors and 107 careers, right? So if you look at the majors, if you're planning to pursue, you can see here there are multiple subjects here. If you're looking at computer science or, becoming a pilot, architects, many types of engineers, financial analysts, etc., you will see that these are the majors. If you're planning to do any of these majors, then AP Calculus BC might be a good, AP to take. And similarly, if you look at macroeconomics, and this has multiple subjects, like I was mentioning here, that if you could go and look at multiple things here, and you will also see that there are a lot of overlaps, right? So for example, AP microeconomics might lead to college majors like economics, accounting, finance, marketing, right? And you'll see that there are many exams that overlap majors and careers with similar skills are needed for both of them. Like, how both math and eco are required to become a financial analyst, right? So therefore, it's important to remember that these decisions about majors and careers are very nuanced. They differ from student to student. It depends on each student's academic profile and the chosen college and career path. You should always make sure that you make these decisions using these tools in close connection with your college counselors or your academic counselors, right? What every university wants, will give you credit for, or will be required, or will be beneficial is a conversation you need to have with your college counselors, right? But this gives you a basic list that even before you sit for a conversation with them, it will help you explore these tools so you'll know what you really need to look for. Another way to decide which AP to take is by looking at the score distribution. So what do we mean by this? So College Board tracks the data of students who take APs every year. The score distribution is the breakup of how many students scored a 5 in various subjects. So if we look at the science category of 2024, in AP biology, only 16% students scored a 5. In physics, 1, even a lower 8% of students scored a 5. However, if you look at the other subjects, they have higher success rate. So AP electricity and magnetism, 27% students scored a 5. And AP mechanics, 23% students scored a 5. Now, if I know that I'm looking at sciences as a space to apply in, and if I have to make a choice, so after I look at the subject categories, right? So I've looked at sciences and I'm planning to apply within the science space. Now I can take any APs. If I had to choose, I would choose AP electricity and magnetism and AP mechanics, right? Because they might be better, my chances are better of getting a high score, given that the percentage of students excelling in these subjects, I would look at those two if I had to pick from this category, right? Similarly, let's look at, if you're looking at maths and computer science as a field of study, right? Like we had seen in the subject categories, multiple subjects you could take. If I look at the score distribution, AP Calculus BC, for nearly 45% of students scored a 5. Statistics, only 17%. Computer science A, 24%, as opposed to computer science principal, only 11% scored a 5. So based on these distributions, if I had to choose two APs, I would go with AP Calculus BC with a 45% success rate and AP Computer Science A with a 24% success rate. Similarly for English, it would make more sense to choose AP English Literature and Composition with a 13% success rate over an AP English Language and Composition, right? So what is the inference that we can draw from these tables? These show us how score distributions can help you decide which AP exams to take. By looking at the past performance data, you can better understanding how challenging it might be to score a 5 in that particular subject. Again, this information is readily available on the College Board website and can be a valuable tool in helping you make your decisions. Use this score distribution data as one of your criteria for selecting AP subjects. It will give you insight into the relative difficulty of scoring top scores in different exams, right? So make an informed choice. The other, we've discussed students' majors and score distribution. Let's explore another critical factor, the college credit policy or the advanced placement policy. Again, I'll show you another tool on College Board. First of all, let's understand what is a credit, a college credit. A credit is a unit by which coursework is measured. So usually one college credit, and again, these are reasonable approximate, one college credit equals to 1 hour of classroom session, 2 hours of independent work after the class, right? And so that means, and an average course will have anywhere between 3 to 5 credits, but usually it's like 3 to 4 credits normally. So an average 3 credit course, you can expect to spend about 3 hours in the classroom and 6 hours of studying, doing homework or assignments or work outside of the classroom, right? So that is college credit. What do we mean by advanced placement? Now, some colleges will offer you a chance to skip an introductory course based on the qualifying AP score that you have. So if you've done an AP in that, and that's going to be a part of your major, you can skip the introductory courses. So some colleges will allow you to earn credit, some will allow you to some will give you advanced placement, and some will allow you to do both, right? So let's look at a tool from College Board that allows you to see how different AP scores can earn you credits at various colleges. So let's look at, say, Stanford here, right? So once you select Stanford from the list, you'll see a table of the AP courses that they accept, along with the credits and the equivalent courses. So for example, if we look at a student scores 5 on an AP Calculus AB, right? He will get 6 credits and he will be allowed to skip Math 19 and Math 20, right? But if he looks at the AP Calculus BC, which is a more challenging course, and he still gets a 5 on it, he will get 10 credits and he can skip Math 19, 20, and 21, right? So this tool will help you determine if taking an AP is beneficial for you and how it will help your child in the college journey at various universities. So whatever universities you're planning to apply to, you can go in and open their AP credit policy and see. Keep in mind to choose APs that align with your intended college major, and it will add to your high school academic profile also. So for instance, if you're planning to pursue engineering, taking AP macro and microeconomics may not be the ideal choice. An engineering course might not give you any credit for those APs. Instead, taking AP Calculus AB, BC, AP Physics, there'll be more suitable options. So, and also, like we were talking about the credits, right? So typically an undergraduate program of 4 years requires you to complete about 120 credits, right? And each credit can cost you anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 in tuition fees. So this means that the total cost of these credits can range anywhere from $120 to $225,000 over a period of 4 years. By taking AP exams, your child can earn college credits while you're still in high school. If he has a strong academic profile, he's very good in academics, it will not be that much of a stretch for them to take the AP exams. And let's break this down with a concrete example. So say if your child takes 5 AP exams and he earns an average of about 6 credits per exam, right? So you have 30 college credits. At $1,000 to $1,500 per credit, these 30 credits can save you between $30,000 to $45,000 in tuition fees, right? So that is one thing that you could be looking at. It reduces your financial burden for the fee before your child even starts college. But you could use that to allocate those resources to other important aspects of your child's college experience, such as housing, books, extracurricular activities, and so on, right? But another important consideration is the curriculum that your child is following right now. So the students attending this webinar they're probably from various backgrounds, different examination boards. So, students in IB programs may already, or Cambridge programs, may already receive credits for their subjects, right? But CBSE and ISC students or state board students may not. For these students taking the AP courses can be crucial to match their peers and to level the playing field for them. But if you're from the IB and Cambridge background, before you start looking at the AP exams, if you're taking those subjects in high school already, you anyways might be getting credits for those exams. And I've kind of opened up, let me just open up the credit policy for, we were looking at math, so we can look at calculus AB or BC. So if you see here on your screen, if you've taken AP calculus BC and you scored a 5, you're going to get 10 credits and you'll be able to skip courses math that we spoke about, 19, 20, and 21. But if you are doing A levels, for example, right, in mathematics, and you've got a score of A or a B, you will get 6 credits and you will miss math 19 or 20 in any case. Or if you're doing IB, math AA, you're going to get, and you have a score of 6 plus, you will again get 6 credits and you will miss math 19 or 20 in any way. So taking an AP calculus AB or a BC might be redundant for a student who's doing this, who's doing IB or A levels in high school and getting a high score already, right? So, it's best to sit with a college admissions counselor to help you decide if the AP exams are right for your child, which specific exams to take. Remember, deciding to take an AP course is a significant commitment, so make sure that you discuss with your child to see if it's the right path for them and which APs you think they would be wanting to do. Again, these are all decisions you should be making with your college counselors. Very important, because especially if you're in 8th and 9th, I think there's a lot more that you need to understand the student's aptitude, what majors he might be wanting to pursue, which subjects do you plan to take in high school, especially if you're in the IB and A-level curriculum, that if you're already getting credits, like I mentioned, then taking those APs may not be the best choice for you. So making those decisions, it's a long process before you actually decide which APs to take. And there are college counselors who have various methods and things in place. They have psychometric assessments, they have programs, almost 2 to 3 sessions where they can help you decide your majors and the relevant APs. If you need any help, you can always reach out to us. We'll give you the numbers of a couple of people who are doing this in any case, and they can, you can sign up for a short program with them. Coming back to the APs now, let's look at some AP testing policies. You cannot take any 2 AP exams scheduled at the same date and time. Decide which exam you wish to take first, and then take the other exam during the next testing window. Now, before I think this might be a little confusing for some people. So AP has two testing windows. You have a regular testing window, which is usually the first half of May. And then you have a late testing window. If you are unable to take your exam in the first testing window for whatever reason, you can write into College Board and check if you can write the exam in the late testing window, which is where if you have school exams or the dates are clashing, you can always take it in the second testing window. But do keep in mind that not every center has late testing, right? So you'll need to check on that. You cannot retake an exam in the same year. So if you've taken an exam in the regular testing window, you can't. So for example, if you're taking AP Calculus BC in the normal testing window, you can't take it again in the late testing window in the same year. You have to wait for one more year before you can take it, right? You can take all the 4 AP Physics exams in the same year. You cannot take both Calculus AB and BC in the same year. But you can take pre-calculus is now available in India. You can take pre-calculus and calculus AB or pre-calculus and calculus BC. So that combination is allowed within the same year, right? So for AP Computer Science, there are 2 exams, AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science A. For the Computer Science Principal exam, it's not as straightforward. There is a project report that you need to give in. Usually a school has to be registered for this. It's a slightly more complex procedure. If any of you plan to take it, I can get you in touch with the faculty who can explain this to you in detail. And also the registration is a little more complex because you have to take the course not only on the AP website, you also have to submit the project and you have to register yourself at the center as well. One of the important things to note is that the AP exam is now going digital. The exam will happen on the Blue Book app of College Board. And we will also share the link with you for you to understand what are the exams. So some exams are going to become completely digital, wherein you'll be taking the entire exam. So your typing skills are going to become important. Not that it's a problem with the current generation. I think they type much faster than us. But one of the significant things to note is, especially for the theory subjects, I think our kids are very used to typing on the phone. They may not be that quick to type on the laptop. So that is a consideration that you have to keep in mind. But for a decent number of subjects, the MCQs will happen on the Blue Book app. They'll have the FRQ, the free response questions visible to them on the Blue Book app, but they have to write out their answer in the answer sheets, which will be provided to them, especially for maths and things like that, right? Okay, an important thing that I want to talk about is the registration deadline. It's very important to plan your AP exam registration well ahead of time. Registration normally opens towards mid to end September, and it closes in mid-November, right? Long before the exam, which actually happens in the month of May. Make sure you register on time to secure your spot, to avoid any last-minute issues. We see so many students who end up missing the registration deadline for whatever reason. Sometimes, they think that there will be a late registration period for this, but not every center has a late registration period, right? Test centers operate independently. So their offerings, deadlines, fees, policies may differ from center to center. Especially if you're paying with a credit card, please make sure that your payment has gone through. Sometimes it goes through now, but it bounces back later, right? And you think you have registered and completed the registration process, but because your payment has bounced, you find out later that you don't have a seat anymore. So make sure that, you have registered and you have the confirmation from College Board that your registration is complete, right? And also another thing to notice that not every center every center does not conduct every exam for every subject. So you have to see from a center, from the College Board website, make sure you understand and speak to the center specifically also, because the registration has to be done in the center as well, right? So speak to them and find out that they are doing those subjects, and make sure you have to go to the center and speak with the AP coordinator and pay your fee at the center, right? So missing the registration deadline is really disappointing, especially for those who are in grade 11, because it can really mess up your academic plans. So I would urge you strongly to mark the registration period in your calendar, follow the necessary steps, make sure you're registered, you have been registered, be proactive in the registration, and don't just, I would say, don't get your kids to do it. Make sure you get it done yourself, right? Okay, how can you score well on the AP exams? That's something that I want to touch base on also. Unlike the SAT and ACT, which offer multiple test dates in a year, AP exams are only held once in a year in the month of May. So from now, you have like almost 7 to 8 months to prepare. Starting early is crucial. You'll need to balance AP prep along with your regular school exams, right? And possibly your SATs if you're planning to take those as well. You will need to block out dates for any midterm and final exams, right? Including the necessary period that you have to study for these exams, right? And for students who are giving their AS levels, they will also have pre-boards because it's a board year for you. So you'll probably have pre-boards in your school as well. So, while we tend to think that we have a full year or we have 7 to 8 months to complete the portions, you effectively have only a few months. So early preparation will help distribute your workload and will reduce any last minute prep. So start early. That's the first thing. Utilize study materials. Good resources are limited. So make the most of what's available. Textbooks, online resources, review guides, taking practice tests is a very important thing. You'll assess your readiness levels. You will identify areas for improvement. Make sure it's very important, that you review your answers for the correct and incorrect questions. You may have chosen the answers for a completely different set of reasons. Make sure that you are doing your FRQ side by side. Again, taking full length practice tests is very important. Under timed conditions, get used to the test format and the timings. Because this has free response questions, this will require a significant time management will have to be looked at seriously. It will help build your stamina for the actual exam, right? So it will also highlight your areas of concern, which are the areas which topics you need to allocate more time for. Building a very strong study schedule. Preparation, an effective study schedule is really key for the APs. You will need to put time aside for practicing exam style questions. Now, I see a very common mistake that a lot of people do is they'll only focus on topics, studying the topics, and then they'll say, okay, we'll do full tests at the end. Don't do that. As soon as you finish a topic, please do some multiple choice questions and free response questions as for that unit as soon as you finish that unit. That is very important. It'll change the way you study, right? When you understand that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to deliver after this topic, it will change many things for you. So make sure you practice that. And you can't do everything at the end, especially with the free response questions. There is a way to write the answers. There is a way you have to present the information, and you have to do it within a given time. So start those practices from the very beginning. Don't put it off just towards the end. Plan well. The portions will take time. These are college level exams, right? So having a strong study schedule is important. And again, if you are doing this from the beginning, by the time you reach the last unit, you have actually effectively done the past year paper questions, right? So you will not feel so overwhelmed, right? If you can do this yourself, it's great. If you cannot, there are experts who can help you with this. So take help where required. Another point I would say is take help. Getting a high score, you're looking at a 4 or 5 for a college level course while you are still in school. It requires a certain level of preparation and understanding the exam format. So don't hesitate to take help from teachers or tutors or online forums or study in groups, right? So if you're struggling with a particular topic, sometimes it's important just to get someone to validate your answer. Especially in the free response, if you've written down an answer, it's okay to take help from a tutor and ask them that is this answer a 1 on 5 answer, Or is it a 4 on 5? What do I need to add to this to make it a 5 on 5 answer? Take that help, right? Studying in groups is very helpful. Avoid looking at your peers as competitors. Studying in group will give you a supportive environment. Many students do like to study independently, which is also okay, but have a good support system. I've seen that it's beneficial, right? When you're studying in a group, you can clarify difficult concepts, you can share resources. It keeps you accountable, right? Stay positive and persistent. Very important. Maintain a positive attitude. Be persistent. AP exams are challenging. But like I said, it's a college level exam that you're taking on a subject, right? But with consistent effort and a very strategic approach, you can achieve a high score. Remember, the goal is not just to pass the exam, but it is to master the material. And what you're trying to do is you're demonstrating to the colleges your academic prowess, right? That say, hey, look at me, I'm so good at this. So plan well, study well, be consistent, stay positive, be at it, and you can get the score that you need. By following all of these strategies, you can enhance your preparation and performance in the AP exams. So make sure you're well equipped to succeed, and you bring a very rigorous academic mindset to the table, right? Now, at Revisor, we provide comprehensive support in your AP prep across 10 to 12 subjects. Our program is, designed to make sure that there is consistent progress. So we start in October. Our programs will start in October. They are 6 to 7 month programs. You will have approximately 30 to 40 hours of live classes. Depends on the subject. There are some subjects that require less classes, some subjects that require a lot more classes. There is experienced faculty that will be working with you. After each session, a student will need to put in some time towards assignments for exam style questions. For example, a 2-hour class might be followed by 2 to 4 hours of assignments, right? So, definitely you could be looking at, one second, just give me a second. Yeah. Where was I? Was that? Yeah, the classes. Then again, after completing each unit, students will take a unit test to evaluate their understanding in the prep levels. Based on the result, you can do targeted remedial sessions to address any gaps if they're there. Mock tests in the last couple of months, students will take about 6 full length mock tests in a timed setting. Again, these tests are designed to simulate the actual exam experience and build confidence. We also offer self-paced courses with comprehensive digital material, which includes assignments, test papers. Some instructional videos are also there. So students can prepare at their own pace. And if required, they can take only a few hours of doubt clarification with the faculty, right? Each subject will start off with 1 session per week, making sure there's a steady progress and regular interaction with the instructors. Usually the number of sessions increases as you go closer to the exams. Our method is centered around doing structured, consistent support over a period of 7 to 8 months. And that's what we've seen usually help students excel in their AP exams. If you look at the subjects that we offer, here's a list of subjects that we offer at this point. There are, I think, 1 or 2 more which are not part of this list. Like there's AP World History, I think, which is not here. AP English Literature is also there. So in case you plan to write any of these, or if you have any questions, or if you need any help, we are happy to answer the questions. We can also set up one-on-one meetings post this webinar. In the coming weeks, we can discuss your requirements individually. We are excited to share that some of our outstanding news about our students' performance in the AP exams in 2024. I'm proud to announce that over 80% of our students achieved either a 4 or a 5 on their AP exams. Here is a list of some students, and I'll also share their testimonials and what they had to say about the AP exams after taking our training. Okay, so we've pretty much covered what we want to take up in this session for the APs from our end. I'm sure this is a lot of information for you to take in. We've shared 2 numbers here. Please feel free to call us back with any questions that you have. You can drop us a message on these numbers with any questions, and or we can set up a one-on-one meeting with you, to help you if you need any information specific to your child about these APs. Again, these calls are free of charge, and we can discuss whatever questions you might have. I'll take up some questions from the chat now. Is there any advantage of IB board to perform well in AP exams? So like I mentioned, if you're anyways doing those subjects in your high school, I don't think you need to take the AP exams at all. If you're doing well on them, like I'd mentioned those couple of reasons. So if you've not done well, or if if we feel that I've gotten a low score and I need to offset that, then of course. But if you've done well, like I showed you, you get credits for IB and A-level exams. If you those same subjects, no, you don't need to take them at all. Does AP certification add value to students from CBSE board with? Oh yes, absolutely it does. In certain, again, this is specific colleges will give some specific importance. It definitely levels the playing field, right? If you've taken up AP exams, it does showcase your academic strengths in the college admissions process. And I think there are some courses that might ask you to, there are some courses for which you might be asked to do them in any case. So I think Oxbridge, for example, you have to take 5 APs and score a 5 in them, I think, for certain courses. It depends on the course and the university that you're applying to. Between grades 11 and 12, what grade do you think we should give our APs and SATs for an ISC student? For SAT, the ideal timeline, if you're still in grade 8 or 9, I would say best is to do your SAT English prep while you're still in grade 10, right? Take that 1 year, finish your concepts, start taking section tests. As soon as you finish your 10th board exam, the summer vacation there, start your math prep, finish all the concepts, finish all the SAT style questions. I would say start with section tests. And then once you're done with that, you can start taking full tests while you're still within your summer vacation. That's the best. As soon as school starts, take the August exam, take the October exam if you're getting the required scores. Best case scenario, ideal timeline, right? If you have missed the summer vacation of 10th, I would recommend that you finish your SAT or your ACT prep while you're still in grade 11. Finish both the attempts. That's again ideal. Don't avoid any spillover into your 12th grade. For APs, if you can take, like I had mentioned, the APs which are not very subject heavy earlier, also if you have an interest. So for example, macro, micro, AP psychology, if you have an interest in these fields, you don't have to have taken these subjects in school to be able to take them up, or you need to put in some time studying them for sure. If you have an interest in these areas, absolutely. There are students who are very interested in computer science and even coding as early as grade 9. So computer science A is again a skill-based exam, which again you can start taking as early as in your 9th and 10th as well. Heavy subjects like I mentioned, like calculus, BC, keep it for 11th grade. I hope I was able to answer that question for you. Which IB board 11th and 12th exam help you score credits for college admissions? Again, college specific policies are there, but I think you get credit for most of the exams that you've taken. The HL exams for sure. So again, every college has their own policy. Best to speak with the college counselor to find out which colleges you're targeting and what their policies are. I hope I answered that question, Sachin. Is it really needed for a student coming from IGCSE followed by IB board 11th and 12th to take up the AP exams? No, if you're doing those subjects in high school, no, you don't need to take it at all. until unless you have one of those reasons that we spoke about earlier. You haven't scored well. If it's a subject that you haven't done in your high school, for example, you're a science student, you plan to do economics or psychology, then it helps. There are some introductory courses, like I mentioned. There are some, if you want to showcase that I have a very broad base, right? If you're showing an academic profile and you say, I have a broad base, I'm not unidimensional, I can do more things. Then in those cases, will it help your profile? Yes. Will you get credits for it? Maybe not, if it's not your major. So it depends on what is your reason for taking the APs. I hope I answered that, Ame. Does IBAI also have college credits or only AA? Again, look at the universities, look at the policies of each university. Like we looked at, if we were looking at Stanford, IBAA had credits. I did not see AI anywhere. Again, best to speak with your college counselor about that, right? How useful is AP admissions to provide to private Indian universities? How similar is the curriculum versus the CBSE board subject, especially sciences? All right. Style of questioning, again, very application based, very much like IGCSE. Can CBSE students do it? Absolutely. It will require some work and time and effort. Some of the highest scoring students are CBSE students because what the rigor that they bring to the table is really amazing. So can they do it? Yes, but there is a difference in the style of questioning, right? You will see that the questions are very application based. Some amount of effort will be required there. Skill will need to be developed there. Private Indian universities, again, I would recommend you speak to college counselors. We have a form here. If you can just fill up that form, and if you just write out that I'd like to speak to a college counselor, again, even within the Indian universities, every college has their own requirements. We'll put you in touch with a couple of counselors. You can do a session with them. Some counselors will offer a free session for AP. Some will offer an actual 5-day course to help you select your APs based on they'll help you decide. They'll do a psychometric that help you decide your it's a 5-day workshop where they'll actually help you do multiple steps, decide your majors, decide your, a lot of stuff before you decide your APs. And there are counselors who will just take a session fee for an hour or 2 hours and help you walk through the academic profile of the student and then help you decide the APs that you want to take. So just fill up that form and say, this is what you're looking for. And we can connect you with counselors who are actually working with students to get them into Indian universities. If a child is in 9th or 10th and takes AP Calculus AB in 9th and BC in 10th, is it useful? Well, for a student to be able to do it in 9th and 10th, they have to be really ahead of the game in their math academic profile. It depends on what level is he at currently. If he's already doing calculus, if he's already doing a lot of that stuff, yeah, sure, he can do it. We've had students who've done it. But I would recommend that you speak to the people who you're signing up with for the course. If he's doing it by himself, he should take a practice test and see where he stands. If you're signing up with a company like ours, I would not recommend the AP program that they have in place already, because that program is built on the premise that the student is doing 11th grade mathematics in school, and then they're doing AP maths above that. They are not starting from scratch. But you can opt for one-on-one maths tutoring, which is willing to go back 5 steps and say, start from the basics and then go all the way up to APs. It will depend on the student's academic profile, quite honestly. There are not many people who will do this, but I've had students who have done it before also. So it depends completely on their profile. Can one give the same exam in multiple years, 11th and 12th grade? Oh, yes, you can. You can improve on your scores, but just keep in mind, if you're planning to be an AP scholar, or if you're looking at, if you're looking at the honors program, then your average test score average might get affected. But if you're just looking to give APs, absolutely, you can take it multiple. You can take it the following year as well. What could be the timeline to prepare for at least 5 AP tests in maths and science category for a student of grade 10 going to grade 11? Okay. Now, I think a good point is, I know we have these cousins sitting in the US who are doing 8 APs and 6 APs. A bit of perspective here. My recommendation is that, see, they are doing this while in school. APs are taught in their school. So for example, if you are in grade 7, 8 itself, if you're an advanced student in mathematics, you finished your regular maths classes, then you go to the honors program, you finish the honors program, and you could start AP as the maths that you're doing in school, right? In India, it's different. You are doing AP in addition to your school program. So it's almost like taking an entire new subject, which requires about 200 hours of prep, right? You're pretty much taking a complete new subject outside of what you're doing in school, right? So it does require a lot of time and effort. My recommendation would be, if you're looking at doing 5 APs, I would say start quickly, but choose the ones which you want to do, right? Choose the APs that you want to do, which are the ones you can do. And then again, it will depend on the academic proficiency of the student. Does he have the bandwidth to do that much work? Does he have the capacity to put in the hours which will be required for 5 APs? This is going to be 5 in addition to what he's doing in school. So if you have 6 IB subjects, science, you didn't mention what curriculum. So if you have 6 IB subjects, 3 at higher level, 3 at standard level, now you're taking 5 more subjects at a higher level, right? Does the student have the bandwidth to complete all of that? If he has the academic prowess, yes, he can do it. And there is, like, for example, if you're looking at physics has multiple APs, and there is a significant amount of overlap as well. So it will depend on, customized program can be made out for you. I hope, Jivitesh, I was able to answer your question. How long is AP scores valid for cross credits? Is it 5 years? I think it's ideally 5 years, but again, I would say, usually when you take it, College Board will archive your scores. I don't think you lose them ever. You can still check with them, write to them and ask them for how long. So they'll archive them and they'll send it to the college as and when you require. Do AP score credits also offered at PG level in Indian universities? Again, this is a question for your college counselors. Jivitesh, I can connect you with some counselors who will be able to answer this for you. Do US citizens staying in India need to give TOEFL or other English exam for college admissions? Yes. You are, and we talked about this today morning as well. Sachin, what happens is, the university might give you an exemption if you've done certain levels of IB or A levels, right? But you might get caught at the immigration. I know of students who could not cross the Indian immigration because they didn't have an IELTS exam, or they didn't have an equivalent TOEFL exam because the country required it, right? Outside of college admissions, you may have your college admissions, you may have a paper saying, the UK admissions, college admissions, for example, clearly says that if you have taken this level of English in your A levels, you are going to a UK university, you don't need to write the IELTS or the TOEFL. But I know of a student who got caught at Indian immigration and could not go till he had taken the IELTS, right? So I would recommend go ahead and take it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions that you have, you can unmute and ask as well. I'd just like to clarify that Revisor is not a college admissions counseling company. We only do coaching for these exams. If you have any college admissions related questions, we are happy to connect you with our partners. We have multiple people who do college admissions, and we can get you a meeting with them, and we'll give you a couple of numbers. So just fill out the form and write down that you'd like information about these things, and we'll pass them on to the college council. We'll share some numbers with you, which you can call them. Any other questions? All right, then thank you so much for taking the time. We'll wrap up the webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to find out about this. If you have any questions, our numbers are there. Please text us. You can also book a one-on-one consultation with us. If you have any college admissions requirements, I would say just reach out to us. We'll share a few numbers. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.